Directions for the Create Your Own Country mapping project. Watch this video along with Mrs. McCain's video showing you kind of how to set up the project and kind of the nitty-gritty details of putting this map together, especially at home. So these are the directions for you. Feel free to fast forward, pause, rewind, do whatever you need to do to understand what this project needs. All right, so a little project overview here. You are going to be designing your own country by creating a map, okay? This map is going to have some political and some physical features. So by political, we mean it needs to have states and provinces, it needs cities, it needs capitals, it needs human-made landmarks, okay, shown, but it also needs physical features as well. Lakes, rivers, mountains, oceans, things of that nature, okay? So this is going to be kind of a hybrid between a political and a physical map, and you'll see later you have the option of even bringing in a third element to that, okay? This is a creative project, okay? If you are an artist, you are somebody who is who likes creative activities, this is for you, okay? So feel free to flex that muscle a little bit and show off some of those artistic abilities. But if you're like me and you have zero artistic ability, it doesn't matter, right? All that matters is that you keep this thing neat and organized, okay? We can create projects that aren't artistic masterpieces and still end up with a nice, neat, organized product to turn in that shows off our knowledge of maps. Finally, something we haven't really gone over much, but this is going to be a performance grade. Our classes are broken up into performance and classroom activities. So this is your chance to show us what you've learned about the elements of a map. Okay, so this will be worth a higher percentage of your grade than other work would be. All right, your required elements. First of all, it needs a title. Okay, make sure you name your country. Make sure it's very easy to read on your map, nice and big. Okay, you need a compass rose. Okay. If you're an artist, once again, this is a great chance to show off. There's some really cool compass roses out there, very ornate kind of pieces on a map. Or, like me, you could just draw an arrow that points up and put an N on top. Okay? You got to at least, this says show at least north. I think showing off all of the cardinal directions, north, south, east, west, would be good. Never eat soggy waffles, right? Make sure you guys are putting it in the correct order. That's what we're really looking for here. Okay. Next up, you need symbols. Okay, you're going to have locations on your map that are showing off where things are, whether it's a city or a town or a road or an airport or a park or a school. Kind of depends on what you want to show. Okay, but make sure that you have at least 4 different types of symbols. Okay, and a symbol should show up multiple times, right? It shouldn't be just one thing for a symbol. It should be, oh, well, I've got multiple post offices, so here's, my symbol for a post office, okay? And you'll have that a couple times on your map maybe. So once again, at least 4 unique different symbols, all right? And then so we know what those symbols mean, make sure that you have a map key or a legend, all right? I should never look at a map and see a symbol and then look at the key and go, it's not there. I don't know what that is. On the contrary, on the opposite end of that, I should never look at a map key and see a symbol and then look at your map and not see it anywhere on there, okay? They should go hand in hand together, all right? Super important. Boundary lines, okay? You need at least 2 boundary lines showing different states or regions or areas within your country, okay? Obviously, this map has a ton of boundary lines because the United States has 50 states, all right? And depending on what you want to do with your map, you have that option. But all we're asking is at least 2 boundary lines and make sure they're clear. Okay, how are you going to make sure they're clear? Probably using your map key. And then you need labels. Okay, make sure you're naming the important features of your map. Cities, states, important landmarks. Maybe you name a lake or you name an ocean or you name a mountain range. You need at least 10 labels on your map. Okay, make sure you guys are keeping up closely with those numbers there so you have everything you need on your maps. Okay, scale. This one's a little trickier, all right? Have this question in your head the whole time you're making your map. How many miles does 1 inch represent? Okay, so you have a couple options here, all right? Some of you guys are going to want to make really big countries like the United States. and that is totally fine, okay? It's just that 1 inch is going to represent more miles for you, right? 1 inch might represent 100 miles, okay? And that's fine. It's just going to kind of dictate what goes on your map. Some of you guys are going to want to make a country that's very small, okay? And in that case, maybe 1 inch equals half a mile, right? Once again, that is going to dictate what goes on your map. So let's take a look at that real quick. On our left, we have a map that is using a small scale, but it shows a large area. So 1 inch equals maybe 300 miles on a map like this. It shows major cities. It shows rivers and lakes and oceans and multiple states and capitals everywhere. Okay, it's kind of the big stuff, right? Versus if we go to the large scale, the small area map, maybe 1 inch equals, as this map says, 100 feet. It's going to show individual buildings, right? On a map like this, maybe you show post offices or you show schools. It wouldn't make sense to show a school on our small scale map because it would be microscopic. It would be tiny, right? If I tried to point out Sparing Middle School on the map on the left, it would be very difficult to pinpoint. But if I wanted to show Sparing Middle School on the map on the right, it would be very easy to pinpoint, right? So think of it that way. 1 inch equals how many miles? And then that kind of dictates how large your country is, all right? Okay, so everything we just talked about, those are the minimum requirements. That is meeting expectations. If you do all of that really well, you are going to meet expectations for this project, okay? But some of you guys are going to look at that and say, that's a pretty basic map. I want to take this thing to the next level. So here's how you go beyond expectations. You're going to create a thematic layer to your map. Your map is going to have some sort of theme. And what we mean by that is you need to show a specific characteristic of your state. So for example, maybe you decide you want to show population density. You want to say lots of people live here, but not very many people live here. Or maybe you want to show the climate. It's rainy in this part of my country, but it's super dry and hot in this part of my country. Maybe you want to show ground cover. There's mountains here while there's grasslands over here. Or a bunch of different kinds of things. If you Google thematic maps, you're going to find so many different ideas, it's unreal. Okay? You're going to make sure you use your map key or your legend to define what colors might mean, because you're going to use color to show off a theme on your map. All right? This is a good point to talk to. Every map needs to have color, okay? Not just the thematic maps, okay? Here's some examples. Map on the left, okay? Orange is hot max temperatures. Blue is very cold maximum temperatures. And it's showing in the United States how those temperatures vary. That's thematic. Map in the middle here, different colors represent different ground covers. And then the map on the right is population density. The more red areas mean more people live there. Here's St. Louis, right? It's pretty dark red. Lots of people live there. But if I go out here in the middle of Wyoming, not very many people live there. So it's a light color, all right? Those are thematic maps using colors. If you feel like you want to tackle something like that, feel free. That would be going beyond expectations, which we love to see. Okay, here's a great example. This is McCania. This is Mrs. McCain's example map that I love to show off. It does a very, very nice job of all of those requirements, even the going beyond here. A couple things to note. It's very neat and easy to read. It's spread out. Her labels are very simple to follow. Okay. She's got a great key over here showing us what everything on her map represents. All right. She's got her compass rose. You notice it is inverted, but it's still correct. Never eat soggy waffles. She just went a little different direction with us to show us that she understood how a compass rose works. Okay. And then she used color to show ground cover as her theme. Blue meaning water, brown meaning desert, so on and so forth. Okay. My only knock on this map, the only one thing I might take off points for, Mrs. McCain, is that the scale is not labeled. 10 what? 20 what? Miles? Feet? What is it? Right? Obviously, we can figure that out by looking at it, right? She probably means miles, but it's nice to label those things. Okay? So take a look at this example map. Pause here if you need to and really get a good idea of what we're looking for. Okay? Lastly, make sure you guys are checking out your rubric. Okay? Meeting expectations with 1.3 here demonstrates understanding of the parts of a map by correctly including the essential map elements. That's all that stuff like title, compass rose, scale, key, legend, symbols, things like that. Okay, and then down here below, the map uses symbols and colors to provide meaningful information. Okay, so that's just, we're looking for, does your map convey something? Does it have a meaning? Does it have a purpose? All right. Obviously, we're looking for color in every map, regardless of whether you go thematic or not. Neatness really matters, guys. It really jumps out to us whenever we see you took your time, and then we can easily identify all of those map elements. Okay? If you guys have any questions, please reach out to your teacher and find out what you need to be doing. We're going to have multiple class periods for you guys to be working on this, including kind of some time on your own. So that's the map project, Creating Your Own Country. Go check out Mrs. McCain's video if you'd like to see some examples for setup of this. Thanks, guys.